Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain here. I just am here to teach beginners how to China paint and also to recruit experienced painters to paint along with me. I have a tile here that I was going to start. And this tile I could do with the white rose, but I already have drawn in 2 roses. Now they might be kind of hard to see. There's one there. I draw in my roses a little odd, and I'm trying not to get any shine on this for you. And there's another one here. This is the cup, the opening of the top of it. So I have one there and one there. If you draw it in like this, it'll be easier for you to paint, because then what you can do is you can start with your background and work up to your rose, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to paint in the long run. So I'm starting out, I like a cool shadow or a baby blue. So I'm going to start out with that, and I'm going to go up here. Up, there we go. And I'm putting in my background. Now this is a lot more tedious than just painting a rose, firing it, and then coming back and putting in the background. But if this is going to be a white rose, then I have to get my background in so that I have something, I at least know where the edges of that rose are. So I'm just putting the background in around the rose. You can see my blue background there. I like blue because it's kind of neutral. And if you decide on a second coat that you want to go darker or lighter, you can add colors over it pretty easily. So when you're doing your background, you do it very carefully around, using like a C-stroke or something that would kind of imitate the outline of the flower that you're painting. And then you pull it out so it's nice and smooth. You want a smooth background, especially on a first fire if you can get it. Okay, so there, I've outlined my rose. Can you see how I've outlined my rose? I think you can. Now for the center of this particular rose, if it's going to be a white rose, I'm going to use yellow. And I like a little bit of kind of a burnt orange for mine, because when I look at my roses, that's kind of the way I see them. So there's my center. You know, you can buy studies online at Paint and Porcelain if that's, and I can put the link down below for you, if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, I'm side loading with these colors, and I'm just going to do the base here. Ooh, it is a pretty gray, kind of a bright gray. It's white. I have to remember it's going to be a white rose, not a gray rose, so I have to pull some of that out. And then I'm just following this design around and putting in the shadows. You only put in the shadows when you're doing a white rose. And the shadows are very key. I was fortunate enough to pick up a ton of paints at a garage sale, estate sale, and I have more paints than I could ever use. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm putting in my shadows. They look a little odd. It's one of the things about white roses is that you have to really work with the shadows so that the white shows through, and it can be difficult. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And then I'm coming around this side and putting in my shadow there. I have to decide where my light's coming from. Usually my light comes from the left, and I think in this case I'm going to do that too. So I can put a little more shadow on these over here. And then, oops. Let's put a little shadow here too. And then I can take my eraser and go around and pull some of those highlights out. I don't know if you can even see where I've done it. I've done it right here. And I'm going to do it here around the edge. It almost doesn't show. And this is the problem that you're going to have with the white roses. And I wanted you to be able to see it kind of firsthand. White is difficult to work with because you're dealing with a lot of negative space. And see, I have a petal here, but you wouldn't even know it was a petal. I need to put a little bit of shadow or something in there just so I know it's there. And when this fires, if I hadn't taken the time to do the background around my white roses, I would not know where the rose ended and the other rose began. And I'm going to take a little yellow now and pull up this way in the top here. Okay, I'm going to put a little orange in with that too because I like the orange. And then up here, the same thing. You're going to go around like we did on the others. And you're going to wipe out around the top. And I know you can't see this as well. You might be able to see it when I get in here. I'm going to do this and this and this. Can you see that? You can see that a little better. So white roses are tricky. They're difficult because you really don't have a whole lot of point of reference. I tend to like to do my white roses, quite frankly, with blues because I find that it works a little better. For me, I like the blue shadows and things like that. For me, those are the colors that I'm really interested in. And the cool shadow, I think, works real well for me for roses, but you have to decide what works for you. And then down here, of course, now that I've got the rose kind of blocked in, I can go in and do it a little darker. I can do a darker background. I'm using the blue black and coming down here and doing a darker background. Oh, this brush is separating on me. Hang on, it needs some oil. Okay, let's try this. So do the blue background. Something about painting white roses, for me, I always want to then do everything in pastel. And you can't necessarily do it that way. So there, and now I'm going to go in. You can see I put the background in with a blue-black background. Let me just smooth it a little more. Sorry, I had to turn that. And then I'm going to go in now, and you'll be able to see where this rose is over here. Oops. Can you see? Yeah, you can. And then I'm going to take my brush and gently wipe from the edge like that. And then you can kind of see where the rose is and what direction the rose is supposed to go in. And next time, I'll try to get the first fire on this, and I'll put it on the web page. You can see what it looks like. And if it turns out the way I'm hoping it will, then we'll do a second fire on this just so you can see how to finish off these roses and get a better idea of how things should look. But thanks for joining me. I hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, please like this page and also subscribe to it. And in addition, you can check out any of the products or studies that you saw at paintnporcelain.com or check the description box below for information.